Welcome everybody. I'm Susan Cooper and I'm chair of the Shetland Family History Society. Last year we moved into this fantastic suite of offices and we thought with no visitors we would perhaps show you inside and to meet with some of the other members in Shetland. You might be able to pick up a few ideas on how to trace your family, and so we welcome you, and without further ado, why don't you just come inside? Oh no, this is union. This one that we don't the 100th year anniversary, was it? And there was folk for Shetland. Come in the post today.
Shetland is famous for many aspects of life at 60 North. The landscape, the wildlife, the birds, the flowers, the ponies, the distinctive knitting, the fishing and crofting, and the dialect. We're also known for our history, including the emigration of the 1800s, when thousands of Shetlanders left their homeland, heading for Ada Airts, putting down roots around the world. They left for many reasons. Some forced off the land by lairds who sought more profit from sheep. Living conditions could be dire, with high rents, poor soil, and failed harvests, making survival a struggle for folk, while the press gang snatched many young men to serve in the Navy.
Sharing Shetland surnames is a project that started quite a few years ago. It started with us booking a room, maybe for about 20 folk, and we maybe got 20 folk, but it was just a very small event. It's just got bigger and bigger, and now summertime we have a get together and we link it in with the summer Sunday teas, which brings out a lot of folk, and they can see photos and speak to family members that they probably haven't seen for a wee while, and learn about the family name. We certainly have learned, for all the research that we do, it's really good. And it's been a really interesting project, so maybe we'll do one or two more. So I often wonder if the Shetlanders who live all around the world know that they're Shetlanders, because it's very often there is somebody that passes on in their family and they find bits of paper with Shetland connections, and it's only then that they realise that they are Shetland. And it's also Shetland men who went to sea and often made their home in all the cities around the UK, and particularly this John Arthurson, and he was born in 1838 from Westerwick and Sandstone, and he became a master mariner, and his wife and his children lived in Liverpool, and he took the Westridge a sailing boat from Birkenhead to Bombay, and it was carrying coal, and that was in about 1885, and it obviously overturned and sank, and the crew were lost, everybody was lost. And about 132 years later, in 2015, they were looking for the Malaysian airliner, and they found the West Ridge 12,000 feet below sea. It's incredible, it's on the website as well, and you can see it there. Jermina Robertson is another lady that fascinates me, and she was born in 1858 in Sandsound in Shetland, in the west side, and she left her home and walked 17 miles to the boat in Lerwick Harbour, and with her spinning wheel and with all her possessions, and she ended up in British Columbia in Canada. And she married a Shetlander, a Robert Colvin, and they had 6 children. She learned how to grow different vegetables, and in return she taught them how to spin and how to make fair isle. And up to this day, the Cowichan sweater is just Vancouver tradition, so that's nice. And then we have J.L. Arcus, and he's an offspring from the Arcus family who went and emigrated to New Zealand, to Wellington, 1875 I think it was, and he was a boat builder just along here at just on past the Malikoff, and so he came home and was so enthralled by it all that he wanted to have a big kind of gathering, social gathering, so the Hame Fair in 1960 started. We put on a big week of entertainment, and I can remember being an 11-year-old in the Lerwick Girls Choir, and we had to practice and remember the Maori love song. And the tune is not going to be sung, but the words e hini e, hoki mai rā, ka mati au, a te aroa e. And that's it.
It's almost like a typewriter.
Well, it was done like that.
Just on a typewriter.
It was, yes. And looking back, you think, well, yes, what a difference now with all the colour and the better quality paper. But then we had no money then.
No.
You know.
I mean, you know, for the first one, given it's a new society, you got it out.
Oh yes.
You know, which is good.
I mean, Alan down in Kent, he used to send the Kuntan Kin to Ian Fraser in Scalloway, who was the librarian at the time and read the proofs. Now it was posted, snail mail to Scalloway. Ian did it and posted it back to Kent, to Alan. It's been a long time. When you compare the two, look at them.
All these monumental inscription books are on sale, and we're putting them online too on our members area alongside the Kuntan Kin journals, wills and other interesting research material. All the graves are being photographed and will also be online just as soon as we can get them there.
Well, Ian, why did this all begin, this monumental inscription project? It was about 20 odd years ago, I think, in the late 90s. Then they went around and they had a summer holiday going around the Shetland kirkyards, and they had picnics and they went as far as Unst, the Fair Isle, Fuller, Skerries, so every kirkyard was covered, and it took them years. But it was all transcribed and it went into books. Can you imagine that without all this technology? And we now have 30 books in the series, but 20 years on, well, even today we find that there's changes every week in a kirkyard. So 20 years on, they thought, well, this would need to be updated and we better go with modern technology. My own interest in it was in the beginning of the 2000. I started going around and photographing the family history tombstones. But like everything else, you get sidelined. What's young? And what's related to young? And I thought, well, look, my mind can't carry it, so let's take photos. And I'm the photographer, but I just took the small camera I had and took the book and followed the line of the book. Because you find in kirkyards that they've used that section, and then when that got filled up, they extended the under. Then they went out the under. Yeah. And now the boundaries are not clear in the old kirkyards. So this actual project, the revamp poem, started in February 2019. And we thought, how best to do this? Because with 30 books, there was no way we could take it on. And so we tried to make personal contact with somebody who had a local interest in their own kirkyard, and it's worked very well. But what I'm sitting here doing today is the next step, looking at every photo that comes back to me and straightening them up and marking them, enhancing them so that they can be right on the website for folk far afield. But of course, there are mistakes on the tombstones. It's only one tool, because they would need, anybody that's a serious genealogist would need to look at this, but also look at the birth certificates and death certificates and that. Really fortunate to have so many volunteers, but what's going to need more volunteers is taking these green books and going through the database and doing checking the changes. Yeah. Yeah. Never mind, we'll keep going.
Our society started in the haste of 1991, 4th September. The first journal had 104 members at its publication. We now have around 800. We value all our members, whatever their involvement, whatever they do, what their interests are, taking on duties and responsibilities, becoming trustees, working hard to support us. There are acht te hee. If anyone would like to join us, please get in touch. We hope you enjoyed this Peerie tour. Get in touch with Beth if you want to take out a membership, and we look forward to hearing from you. We're being blithe to welcome you to our office. We hope to see you in person afore too long, when you can drop a line with us, maybe for research, for a yarn, and maybe for tea and fancies. Blessings be with you.